See that face right there? That's what people look like when they first try Whisper. I'll speak for myself. That's kind of what I look like, because Whisper has been an incredible transformative technology by OpenAI. This is not sponsored by OpenAI. I use it all the time, and this has been a game changer as far as transcribing voice in different languages to text. Way better than anything Apple has, way better than anything Google has. This surprise face is actually a video I did a couple weeks ago comparing some of these machines right here, including the M3 Max in AI workflows. This video is related to that. When I transcribed that video into text, it took 8 minutes, 7 seconds, which is a crazy amount of time to wait. Of course, this time that I'm showing you, 8 minutes, 7 seconds, is the default Python implementation that runs on the CPU. Who's gonna do that? Nobody's gonna do that. Today, I wanna see if I get an improvement using the M3 Max and this beast right over here, which has a Core i9 with an nVidia RTX4090 card in it. We're gonna look at different ways of running this, C++, using MLX, which is the new framework for Apple. Shout out to Ivan for showing me this benchmark, the Tristan BO. I think that's maybe how you pronounce it. He's French, so BO. We're gonna kick things off there just to get a baseline. And instead of cloning this repository, I'm actually going to fork my own copy of it because I want to submit my results as pull requests to the repository. According to the repository, these are the machines that he's missing. I have some of these here, and I'm gonna throw in this 4090 machine. All right, we're running this on all these machines. Got the RTX 4090, M1, M2 Max, M3, M3 Pro. Those were the missing machines, but we've got a little bit of a problem here. This is an 8GB M3 base model, and it ran out of memory. This is a base model M1 MacBook Air, and it ran out of memory. So 8GB, not enough. Luckily, I have another M1 that I'm gonna try this with. This one has 16GB of RAM. Unfortunately, I do not have another M3, so we're gonna say bye-bye to that one. It's getting a little warm in here, but a couple of these machines already finished, the M2 Max and the M3 Pro. So I'm gonna take these results and submit them as pull requests. Just came back from a walk with my dog, and Tristan already merged my PRs. First, I wanna show you that, yes, MLX seems to be faster than MPS all across the board. By the way, if you don't know what that is, MPS is how PyTorch communicated with the GPU, metal performance shaders. Now we have MLX. It seems to be doing better. The only one that's very close is the M2 Ultra result. And yes, there's different tests that I ran here. This is just one test called argmax. There's different results based on the test, but here's a general example for you. You can check out the repository for more details. As you can see, the CPU results are way slower. But what happens when I add the CUDA results? Here are some Tesla V100 results. Unfortunately, you can't even see that on the chart. They are so fast. I also added my RTX 4090. MLX clearly faster than MPS. CUDA, or the nVidia RTX boards, clearly faster than all of those. This doesn't tell the whole picture, of course. The amount of power that was used and the amount of heat generated and the amount of noise generated in my office today was primarily from that MSI giant laptop with a power brick that's as big as my face that I won't be able to take anywhere because I'll have to keep it always plugged in. So lots of things to consider there. Now let's get back to my original example of running Whisper. According to this, theoretically, the RTX machine will be able to run Whisper a lot faster. So let's do the practical example. This right here is Whisper CPP, or the C++ port. And guess what? They run really fast, including Whisper, and that's what I've been using. If you are questioning whether C++ runs faster than Python, then yeah, it does. It's much faster. It's ridiculously faster. I've compared the languages before on this channel. It's not even a question. There's a little bit more to the story here because he's created his own quantization format for the models. And I'm using the Whisper Tiny model because even the Tiny model, which is about 70 to 80 megabytes, not gigabytes, very small requirement for that model, but it's super accurate. That's all I need. There is a large model, which is many gigabytes in size. But yeah, there's a slightly different model format that's converted from the original model. Now, when I run this, it takes 18.12 seconds to transcribe that same video. That's the one that took over 8 minutes to do with the Python version on the CPU. It takes 18 seconds using C++, also running on the CPU. So now we're going to introduce MLX into the mix because that one is going to utilize the GPU. And if you want to try this yourself, you go to this repository. This has a bunch of different LLMs like Mistral, Llama, Phi 2, and some of the older models like Bert and Safar. It's got stable diffusion. If you want to see any of that, by the way, let me know in the comments down below. And we've got Whisper. I've already installed all this and I've set it up to run this example, and I go into details on how to install these things on the members only videos. So thank you to the members of the channel for supporting. These machines are pretty expensive, and Apple doesn't send them to me for free. I have to actually pay them the sticker price to get these machines in here and do the tests. Same thing with the RTX machine. So if you want to join and support the channel, please do so. There's a join button right down below. Until I get enough people to support me without having sponsors on the channel, I do have a sponsor for this portion of the video, Paperlike. The Swiss Paperlike 2.1 enhances the iPad experience with its advanced features. It offers improved overall visibility and clarity while maintaining the same paper-like feel and stroke resistance as its predecessor. This screen protector uses new composite materials for an even distribution of nanodots technology, enhancing the tactile experience for writing and drawing. Nanodots are small microbeads uniformly arranged on the screen protector, and they play a crucial role in minimizing light refraction, ensuring the images you see are both crisp and clear. This is the secret sauce when it comes to making their screen protectors unique. The upgraded picture clarity ensures a crisp and clear visual experience. It's available for various iPad models, and it's sold on paperlike.com as well as other vendors, and it focuses on improving performance for both professional and recreational use. For more information, visit paperlike.com/Alex. There's a link in the description, and thanks to Paperlike for sponsoring this portion of the video. So when I ran Whisper with MLX, I got 15.5 seconds, which shaves off 3 whole seconds off of my C++ version. And from what we've seen, MLX is much faster on the M3 Max than on the M2 Max, which is where I got the 15 seconds. Notice the MPS results are pretty much the same for the M2 Max, M3 Pro, and the M3 Max, but the MLX difference is there, at least for this particular test that I'm charting here. So that's a nice little gain. But what about that RTX 4090 that I have in this beast over here? No, not you, buddy. This other beast. And it sounds like an airplane in here. This thing is doing it, but it's not looking very fast. That's actually pretty slow. Not sure why. Just to make sure, there is the nVidia GPU activity. Right now it's inactive. I'm gonna time this process just one more time because I forgot to time it the last time. And now the GPU is in fact active. So we are using the GPU, and this is running inside WSL2. I'm not impressed by the speed. Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. 57.9 seconds, almost a minute. Could it be because we're using WSL2 here instead of native Windows? Well, I found some discussions on GitHub saying that, yeah, this could potentially be because you're not running on native Windows, you're running through WSL2. But no, that's not the case, in fact. I set the environment up on Windows, bare Windows, if you can even say something like that. Bare Windows, whatever that means. We can't blame Windows, we can't blame WSL2 here. What can we blame? And yeah, this was also using the GPU while it was running. Manny on Twitter had a couple of suggestions saying that possibly this is not FP16, FP32 instead, and no, this is actually running in FP16 because when I ran it without the Python packages on the CPU, it took much longer, and it complained about not being able to run the FP16 version, that it had to run the 32 version on the CPU. But on the GPU, on the nVidia GPU, it has to run the FP16 version, so it never complained about that, and it ran it just fine. He also says that maybe we don't have enough memory, but this RTX 4090 has 16 gigabytes of memory, and since I'm running the tiny model that's only 80 megabytes, that's really not a concern here. So the only other thing that he mentioned that could be causing this is the architecture. We're running a relatively small process here, considering when you're running large LLMs, an RTX machine is going to be faster in general because it's going to load up all that data into memory. Because this is a very small process, we have to move between the CPU and the GPU back and forth. The discrete GPU here has its own memory. It doesn't have unified memory like it does on an Apple Silicon machine. It has to do a lot of moving back and forth between the CPU memory. There's copying going on back and forth between the two different memories and the processing and the GPU. So all that incurs a cost. And perhaps if this was a bigger model, the 4090 would be faster on something like this. Overall, for me, I think going forward, the MLX process is the fastest. But Whisper C++ is actually easier to run for me because all I do is just go to the directory, run that program, and that's it. With MLX, I have to use a Conda environment, so it's a couple of extra steps, but it's not a huge deal. If you want to see how I set up Whisper CPP, I have a video for that right over here. Check that out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.